everyone, and welcome to my Flosstube channel. My name's Stephanie and this is my channel that's all about cross-stitch. So I'm bringing you a little Flosstube extra today. It's probably going to be quite a long video, which is why I'm classing it as an extra, and it's just basically I'm going to go through all of my patterns, or ones that I own and ones that I want to get. And I thought I'd do a little bit of a pattern parade. I'm not sure if that'll be of interest to anyone, but this is all going to be full coverage patterns, and a lot of these, as I said, I've already purchased, so they're going to be ones that I'm thinking of starting next year. There's quite a few that I still have to purchase, but there's around about 75, I think it is 75 patterns. So as I said, it's probably going to be quite a long video, and you know, you might find something that you're interested in, and I just thought it might be something a little bit different, a little bit fun, and that way, you know, if anyone's really interested in certain patterns, it might make me want to start them a bit quicker. So what I've done is I've kept it quite organised. It took me a few days to do this. Basically, I was doing it just for myself. I wasn't doing it to make a video or anything. I was trying to get organised so I could have an idea of what patterns I wanted to stitch, you know, the rest of this year and next year. And yeah, like I said, this is I think I counted 75 on this list, and this isn't all of the patterns that I like or own. This is just the ones that I liked the most, or I wanted to start the most, or something like that. So yeah, so I've printed off a big list. I will obviously be looking at notes and I've tried to keep them alphabetical for the companies, and what I will do is I will try to see if the document itself will all fit into the description. If not, then I will just link the stores, the websites themselves. So I'm going to try something a little bit different, just because obviously, like I said, there's so many patterns, and that would make my editing time, adding all of the images, it would be really a bit of a nightmare. So I've sent over all the images to my tablet, and they should hopefully be in the right order. So I'm gonna show the image on that as I'm talking, and I'm gonna list obviously the title, the artist if it's known, and I'm gonna mention what size the particular chart is. I tend to stitch my full coverages probably on an 18 count. I have got one on a 25 count and one on a 28 count. So I might, you know, change what I'm stitching on. I've also got one on a 20 count, and I have bought some 22 count fabric. So I think most of them are gonna end up being 18-20. But yeah, there are a few on here that are much bigger, so if I did decide to start them, you know, next year, then obviously I would need to branch into getting larger, you know, size fabric. So again, this is only full coverage, and it's not actually whips, it is just you know, patterns. So if that's not something you're interested in, I fully understand. But if you're interested in full coverage and you would like to see lots of patterns in case you get enabled, then welcome and settle in. I don't know how long this video is going to be, but we will find out together. Right, so as I said, I'm going to do it in alphabetical order. So the first company is Artecy Crossstitch. So the first pattern, hopefully it will come through okay. I'll try and do it so there's not as much glare. So there we go. So the first pattern is called Blue Patch Meadows by Graf. Now this is one that unfortunately has been retired from Artecy. I think it got retired at the end of July, which is why I purchased it. But so I have actually got this one in my collection. So this is 300 wide by 239 high. So that is that one. This one is Mini Cabin Under the Northern Lights. This is artwork by Tereena Clarke, and this is 200 wide by 133 high. And this was, I think, one of the freebie patterns from the Facebook group, or it might have been one of the free patterns on the website. I'm not too sure. I'm in her Facebook group for Artecy, and I know that we do get some like exclusive free patterns in the group, and I know there are some that go on the website, so I'm not 100% sure which one that was from. My next one is Mini Christmas Mailbox. This is artwork by Kayomi Harai, and this, as I said, this is the mini, so this is 180 wide by 130 high. So I'm hoping to start that one this year actually, probably maybe December sometime. So I have this one, so Mini Dragon Tails. This is by Tereena Clarke, and it's 200 wide by 200 high. So that's Mini Tails 1 with the girl. And then I also have Mini Tails 2, which is the boy one, and that is the same. So that is artwork by Tereena Clarke, and it's 200 by 200. I was actually considering maybe stitching the two of those together on one big piece of fabric, because a lot of the colours are the same, but I was trying to figure out how much space to leave in between each design, because obviously, like I said, 200 by 200, so you know the two patterns next to each other would be 400 across. But obviously I'd probably need to leave, I would say probably about an inch and a half perhaps between the two, but I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure about that, so I probably will just do it on different different fabrics. So this was another one by Tereena Clarke, and this one is called Mini Puppy Love. Now this was one of the monthly patterns, I think it was from March, so I don't think the mini is available right now, but you can get the, I think it's the regular size. So this mini one, this is 200 wide by 133 high. So yeah, so I know that the chart's available on the website, but I'm not sure if you can get the mini version anymore. So all of these ones I've showed so far, I actually do own the charts, so these are all already in my pattern keeper, loaded up, ready to go whenever that will be. So I have another one by Kayomi Harai, and this one is called Mini Shiba Puppies Happy Dreams, and this one is 180 wide by 122 high. So obviously all of the mini ones that I'm showing, they are also available as a larger one. It's just I tend to prefer right now for most of mine to stitch the small versions, just because I think it would take me way too long to you know, stitch the full size on all of these. Oh, sorry, I'm getting quite a lot of glare on this one. There we go, that's better. So this one is Mini Sleeping Kittens in Flowers, and this is artwork by Image World /AP, and this one is 200 wide by 142 high. And this one actually reminds me quite a lot of another chart that I'm wanting to get from Painfree Crafts, which you will see later on in this. So yeah, this was why I wanted to get this one, and as I said, this one is the mini, so there is actually a large version, and there is also the circular, the hoop version of this one that you can purchase as well. So and then this one is Mini Summer Christmas Tereena Clarke artwork, and it is 200 wide by 133 high, with obviously the large version also being available. And then another one is Winter Wolf. Yeah, I thought this was a good idea, and now I'm finding that they're having lots of glare on them. So there we go. So yeah, Winter Wolf by Tereena Clarke again, and it's 200 wide by 250 high. I think I should have printed my notes a size bigger, so I'm like trying to I'm trying to look over. So as I mentioned, so all of those I own, and then there's 3 from Artecy that I have. There's more than 3 on my wish list, but these are the 3 that I'm you know, interested in the most. So these I don't own, but these are patterns that I like and, you know, hopefully will purchase one day. So this one is called Castle Cutaway, and the image is by Steve Crisp. So this one has quite a lot of different versions available. So the one that I'm considering making is going to be the large one, which would be 650 wide by 464 high. There is a regular one which I don't feel would have all of this. I don't know if some of that would come out as well, and there is an extra large, but I think that's something like 999 stitches wide, and I just feel like that one might be too overwhelming for me. Although, you know, I know that probably would show a lot of that in great detail, but I really like it, but I'm not too sure because of all of that, all of those rooms. I feel like that would be a lot of confetti, and I think I'd be quite disappointed if it was not really very clear with that one. So as I said, that's on my list, but I'm not too sure if that might be a couple of years away yet. So I don't know. So this one is another one that I want to get, and this is called Path of the Dreamcatcher, and it's based on artwork by Gloria West, and it is a 300 wide by 230 high chart. I just think that one's really pretty. And then my other one is called The Magic Dragon Shop by Bigelow Illustrations. Now this one is a large version, so the large version is 550 wide by 440 high. There is a smaller one available. I think this one might show a lot more of the detail. Just it reminds me a lot of you know, like Harry Potter, that kind of thing. So I really like that one. I think that's really I think that would be quite a detailed one once if it was stitched on this size that I'm thinking of. Right, so that is all of my Artecy ones. Like I said, I knew this would probably be quite a long video. I might even end up making it into 2, but I'm gonna just try and record and see how it goes. So I have 2 charts from Boogie Stitcher. These ones are both ones that I own. I do own more than 2 of hers that I haven't started, but these are the 2 that I'm thinking of starting, you know, next kind of thing. So this one is called Assassin 2, and it is a 300 wide by 300 high chart. So that's that one. And then I have one Protected Embrace, and that is the same. That is 300 wide by 300 high. So those are those 2. And then I have now 3 from Charting Creations. Now these 3 I don't own, so these are 3 that are on my wish list, and they're quite high up on my wish list. So these are the ones that I'm going to share. So this one is called Christmas Tree Farm with Snow Family Greeters, and it is artwork by William Vanderdasson. and it is a 475 wide by 346 high chart. And I like this one because it's winter, but it's also got hints of autumn in it with the barn. And I just like that it's got the dog, and I don't know, I just really like this one. Even though I'm not really someone who, I don't really have any Christmas, apart from little small ones I've done, but I don't really have Christmas designs, especially for a, you know, a big full coverage, but I do really like that one. So I'm very tempted to get that one to start in December, so I don't know. I don't know. And this one I think is quite a new release, and this is called Midnight Laundromat, however you say that. And this is artwork by Ivy Dullamore, and it's a 315 wide by 415 high. And even though I'm not really, I wouldn't be looking forward to stitching this section here because it's gonna probably be like 2 colours only. I just really like the image as a whole, and obviously if I can zoom in, she's obviously like a little vampire, and then she's got the clothes, the blood-stained clothes in her basket. And you know, she's very punky looking, so yeah, I think that's really, I don't know, I just really like that image. And then this one I think has been out for a while. I've had it on my list for ages, but I've got to be honest, I don't think I've seen anybody, like Flosstube people, I don't think I've seen anybody stitching this, anyone that I've come across anyway. But I really like this one. So this is called Scrub-a-Dub Cubs. And it's by Sheena Pike Art, and it's 470 wide by 490 high, so this is obviously, for me, this is one of the bigger ones. But yeah, I love that duck with the glasses. So yeah, I really like that one. I just think it's really fun, a really fun one. So yeah, like I said, I don't know, anything that is over like 350 one way or the other is obviously really big for me. I think my biggest one, because I do a lot of HAED minis, so I think my biggest one right now is 400 by 400, but I have just started a very small start, which you will see in my next update video. I have started a new one which is 500 by 500, so I think that might be my biggest one so far. Right, so I have Crossstitch for everyone. So there are 1, 2, 3. So there's 5 of these that I own, and then there's 2 others that I like that I don't own, but I'm gonna share. So these are all ones that I own, and most of the Crossstitch for everyone's I've come across that they all seem to be the same size, which is good. So this one is Cozy Cabin Kitties, and it's by Missy Means, and it's 335 wide by 335 high. The only thing I think with this one is it might be a lot of brown with all of that kind of window frame and the wall behind it, so I'm not too sure if I'd get a little bit bored of that, but that is on my list. And this one is a freebie. I think it's still available on the website. And this one is another one by Missy Means, and it's called Let It Snow, and this is a 335 by 335 as well. So again, this is one I might try and see if I can start towards the end of the year for December. And this one is called Lil Hippie Soul by Sue Richter, and this is 335 by 335. So I've had this one, I think I had these patterns from last year's sale at one point. So yeah, they've been here for a while. So this one is called Love, Light and Sparkle, and this one is by Heather Muntz. I hope I'm saying that right. M-U-N-O-Z. And this is 335 by 335. This will obviously have a lot of 310. So this one, I'm not too sure when I will get round to stitching it, but I would like to stitch that at some point. And this one is called Starlit Samoyed. Hope I'm saying that right. And this is by Missy Means, and this is actually a slightly different size. So this one is 448 wide by 448 high. So that's that one. And these two now I don't own, but these are ones that I've had on my list for a while. So this is called Good Morning Sunshine by Sue Richter, and this is 335 by 335. It's probably more of like a summary chart maybe, so that could be one I could start next year maybe. And this one is called Sparkle, Glitter and Shine, and this is by Heather Muntz, and this is a 335 by 335. I know that would have a lot of confetti in it just on that background alone, but it's a very, very pretty one. Lots of like pinks and purples and blues, and so yeah, so I like that one. Okay, so this one is going to be one that's going to take me a little while because I know a couple of the images have gone in the wrong order. So this is my HAED. So my HAEDs is, yeah, it's a very big list. So I'm going to get a drink because this is going to probably take a while. Okay, so I went from starting this year, 2025, I went from starting the year with no HAEDs to getting to almost September, and I have lots of HAEDs in my collection and more that I want to get. So yeah, full coverage has definitely like been my big obsession this year, and as I said, with all of these patterns, it's definitely going to be something that I look into doing a lot more of in 2026. Right then, so this one is Mini Candylicious by Amy Stewart. This is 325 wide by 232 high. So that's that one. And then I have Mini Got a Secret by Chris Ortega, and this is 232 wide by 325 high. So I've had this one since, I think, yeah, near the beginning of the year when I started getting. I think this was one of my very early ones. I've just not got around to starting it yet. And then I have Mini Lost in You by Rachel Marks, and this one is 225 wide by 337 high. So this one only has 16 colours. So yeah, that'll be interesting to make because I'm used to having like HAEDs with, I think most of them do have 90, don't they? So so this one is Mini Patchwork Quilt Room, and this is artwork by Chiro Machete, and it's 325 wide by 227 high. And I've had this one for a while. Lacey, the Sleepy Stitcher, she's stitching, I think it's the quick stitch version of this, and that's when I first saw it, and I obviously got the mini, but I just haven't got around to starting that one. So I'm just going to change my page from my notes. We're on page 2 of notes. Right. Excuse me. So this one is Mini Patchwork Sampler, and this is artwork by Jane Wooster Scott, and this one is 325 wide by 266 high. I might be starting this one in the next few months, but I haven't got around to it yet. And then another, there's quite a few Amy Stewarts, but another Amy Stewart. So this one is Mini the Sewing Desk, as I said, by Amy Stewart, and this is 325 wide by 232 high. Obviously the image is not what the mini will look like, that's obviously just the image. And then I have this one. Is definitely getting started in November or December, so this is going to be a start this year. So this is Mini, the Winter Reading Nook, another Amy Stewart one, and this is 350 wide by 250 high. That's that. And then I think, oh no, some of these, I was going to say I think these are out of order now, but no, I've still got a couple in order. And then this one is Quick Stitch Genevieve, and it's by Hannah Lynn. It's credited on the chart as Hannah Disney, but I think it is listed on HAED's website now as being Hannah Lynn. So this one is 195 wide by 140 high. And then I have Quick Stitch Her Concealment, and this is artwork by Ching Chow Kiwick. I'm saying that wrong, I know, but hopefully you know the designer. And this one is 150 wide by 207 high. So all of those are charts that I currently own, and then I do have some. These are kind of like my most wanted on my wish list. So these are like the next ones that I'm hoping to purchase at some point. So I have another Hannah Lynn one, and this is Mini Mother Earth. So I was trying to decide whether I would like to do the mini or the you know, the full size one of this one, and then I realised that a lot of my Hannah Lynns are either minis or quick stitches, so it made more sense to keep this as a mini. So the mini version of this is going to be 240 stitches wide by 325 high. So that's that one. So I'm hoping that's going to be probably maybe a new year, new start. See, now they go a little bit out of order, so just give me a second. Right, there we go. So this one I think might be a 2027 start. I think this might be a bit too epic for me to try and take on next year with all of these other ones. So this is called Once Upon a Fairy Tale, and it's by Amy Stewart. And this one is 750 stitches wide by 536 high. Because I was trying to decide whether I liked this one the most or the Grand Library the most, and this one won out because I just think it's more kind of fantasy, and yeah, I think it has a little bit more in it, because the Grand Library, I really like that centerpiece, which is like the chair and the fireplace, and I realised that that is actually available as a quick stitch, so I'm unsure with that one, but I think I'm probably going to lean towards getting the quick stitch version and just doing that centerpiece. Right, so my next one, so there's kind of like there's a couple at the beginning of my pictures and then they're not in quite the right place, so I've got to kind of manually go back. So again, another Hannah Lynn one, and I think this one originally would be credited as Hannah Disney. And this is Quick Stitch Daffodil Flowers, and it's 185 wide by 258 high, and I'm thinking of purchasing this one and starting it in March next year because of the daffodils, and St. David's Day is March the 1st, and I'm in Wales, so kind of makes sense. And then this one, The image I've saved on here isn't a very clear one, but hopefully you can see what it should be. So this one is Sweet Tooth Candy Emporium by Lars Stewart, and this is 625 wide by 446 high, and this one I got enabled, sort of intrigued by, because Dawn, the busy mom stitcher, and she's stitching this one, and obviously with her showing it quite a few times, I realised that, you know, it's really fun looking, and of course I now have to have that at some point. And then I have another Amy, well actually the next two are Amy Stewart ones, so yeah, there's going to be a lot of Amy Stewart patterns being stitched by me at some point. So this one is called Tea and Cookies, and it is 625 wide by 446 high. This actually wasn't one of my like big favourites when I saved it, it was just one I liked. There was actually a couple more that I was looking at instead, and then the more I looked at this one, I just really think it would be really fun to stitch. So yeah, that's ended up being one of my kind of like most wanted ones now. Right, so now I have to get back to my list, so just give me a second. I think then I will be on track. And then this one is the most recent one she's released, the Travelling Library. As I said, again, any of these, anything that's kind of 700 and something is going to probably be a little bit too much for me to take on just yet. But yeah, this is one of my wanted ones. So yeah, the Travelling Library by Amy Stewart, and this is 550 wide by 730 high, and as I said, that's like the most recent one that HAED's patched out of hers. So that's all my HAEDs. I do have more on my wish list, and I think I might have another. No, I think that's all the ones I purchased. So I think I said, but just in case I forgot to say, so the Mini Mother Earth, Once Upon a Fairy Tale, Daffodil Flowers, Sweet Tooth Candy Emporium, Tea and Cookies, and Travelling Library, them ones I don't own. Up until that, they're the ones I owned. Okay, so the next two are from Painfree Crafts. Now, I don't own any of these two, so these are ones that I want to purchase. And this one is Blooming Whiskers by Ashwood Studios, and it is 600 wide by 420 high. So the Max colour stitcher Anne, she is stitching this, and this is where I saw it. And then I know that Catherine Stitches is also stitching this one. I think Sisky Stitches is also stitching this one. So yes, this is one of my ones I want to get. And then the other one is one that I have mentioned on my channel before, because this was going to be one that I purchased for my birthday start this year, and I changed my mind. So this is obviously still one that I want to get. So this is called Oriental Fantasy by Esmira, and it is 309 wide by 400 high. So this could end up being my birthday stitch for 2026. So I could probably keep the stitch along the, you know, stitch something green thing. So we could end up keeping this one. So my next group of patterns is from Pink Lily Patterns. I have lots of Isabella's charts, so many. So of course it's one of those where I purchased them and then trying to figure out now which ones I really want to start, you know, next is, it took me a while. So yeah, so all of these I do already own. It's just a case of figuring out when I want to stitch them. So as I said, they're all Pink Lily patterns, so artwork is all by her. So this one is, trying to get it so it's not got so much glare. There we go. So that one is Colourful Parrot, and it is 370 wide by 481 high. So there's a big range of patterns that have this kind of style. I also got one of these that's a penguin one, and there's lots of different ones on Etsy shop which have that kind of darker background and like really colourful you know, image. So there's a lot of them that you can choose from. I seem to be looking into like festive and Christmas charts recently, so this is quite a new release from her. So this one is called Cute Festive Girl, and it is 450 wide by 450 high. So this could be one that I start in December as well. I'm thinking of maybe participating in Flossmas, so I wanted to have a few like festive Christmas charts if that's what I end up doing. This one is an interesting one because it's a little bit different, but it's one that I have been drawn to a lot. So this one is called Lots of Buttons. I just really like the, you know, like the map underneath the buttons, and I just think it reminds me a lot of you know, like kind of games like Uncharted, so Indiana Jones, that kind of thing. It reminds me of kind of like an adventurer, explorer kind of thing. So, but yeah, I don't know, I just really think that's interesting. It's different. So this one is 370 wide by 478 high, and that's called Lots of Buttons. And then this one is Pretty Reading Elf, and it is 370 wide by 481 high. It's the camera's, oh there we go, I was going to say the camera's not really picking up the pink. It's like very pink in the book. Yeah, there we go. If I tilt it that way you can see the pink. I know I could be turning the tablet for the portrait size images, but it's just easier to keep this locked on, otherwise auto rotate, you know, it'll go everywhere. So this one is called Sheep and Mushrooms, and it is 450 by 450, and this one I am thinking of starting in kind of springtime, probably around about Easter, so March, April next year. It's just really cute. Oh, the little sheep. And then a Halloweeny one. So this one is called Sparkly Cheeked Witch, and it is 370 wide by 481 high. So her cheeks, unless I move there, her cheeks aren't sparkling the way I'm holding it. There you go, you can see it. So yeah, so that's a really pretty one. And then I have one, I think I may have shown this one before. Get that off, there we go. Right, so that is Stained Glass Eagle, and it's 450 by 450. So yeah, so that's one that I want to start at some point. And then the next two I have are freebie patterns. So what I will do is I will link the Facebook group, if I can, in my description when I've got my list. So every month we get a free chart, well, 2 free charts, I think it is. Some months has been 1, some months has been 2. So I do have quite a few freebie ones, and a couple of them are ones that are on my list to stitch. So this was a freebie pattern from April 2025, so I'm just calling this Flower. And again, this is a very similar style to that parrot that I just showed. So I can't, sorry, getting a lot of glare. You're getting a good view of like my room from all of this. So yeah, so this one, as I said, this is a freebie pattern. in the Facebook group, and it's 370 wide by 481 high. There we go, we'll hold it back, the colour's a bit better. So yeah, so I'm just calling that Freebie Flower. And then this one has been the one we've just had for August. So I'm just going to call this one Winter Scene because it looks like kind of a winter scene. So yeah, so again, this is a freebie from the group. And this one is 450 high by 450 wide. So it's just like a lot of lanterns and some flowers. So that's a pretty one. So yeah, so that's one on my list to stitch. So hopefully I can't really see when I'm trying to show the images because I'm hiding the camera. So hopefully they're coming out okay. Obviously, as you know, I make my videos in the morning, so early. So hopefully the lighting's not too bad. What I'll do is when I edit, if any of them are really kind of not coming out well, then obviously I'll just pop up an image on the screen later. But I was just hoping that this might work quite well. Right, so now we're on to the Stitch Is So Beautiful ones. Now all of these charts, these are ones that I don't own yet. A couple of them have only just been released in the last few days, so obviously I had my list and I've had to add more to my list, because instantly I've seen a few and gone, yes, I need those ones. So this is obviously including those. There are a lot more of Stitch Is So Beautiful patterns that I do want to stitch. I've not included everyone here. These are just the ones that I'm interested in, you know, either the most, or they're the ones that are perhaps different. Basically there's two by Eda Jose Rosa, which I know one of them a lot of people are stitching. So there's two that are girls with cats, and I already have girls with cats quite a lot. So yeah, so they've just kind of gone down the list a little bit. So anyway, so this one is called A Mother's Love by Ana Diaz, and it is a 400 wide by 400 high. So yeah, some of them are a little bit different. You know, as you can see, I don't really have a set style when it comes to stitching. I just really like the images that, you know, kind of grip me, or it's just something that really pretty or something. Yeah, so that's that one. I know that has got quite a lot of background on it, so stuff like that I do have to kind of consider before I start actually purchasing some of these. But as I said, these are all the ones that I like probably the most at the moment. So this one is called Autumn in Chestnut Cove, and it is by Kim Leo. I don't think I would start this one just yet, just because I'm currently stitching a Kim Leo one, and with this being autumn, I will probably end up getting this towards next autumn now. So this one is 404 wide by 300 high, but I do like that one with all the houses and everything. So this is one of the brand new just released patterns, and I saw this one and I was like, I have to get this at some point. It's so pretty. So this one is called Beautiful Sea Lady by Coastal Bliss Studios, and it is a 400 by 400. So yeah, I don't know when I'll get that one, but that's definitely one on my list to get. And this one is another brand new one, and it is called Blue Eyed Girl by Ingrid Jean AI Art. So this one has two different options. So it has the regular size, which is 300 wide by 400 high, or the max colour max size one, which is 450 wide by 600 high. So I have compared the two, you know, the little bit you get with the stitched example, and the regular size does look a little bit more pixelated across the cheeks, but my only concern about getting the max colour, max size is how much of that background you're going to have before you get to the main image. So I probably will just end up getting the regular size, 300 by 400, but because I've not purchased it yet, and it's you know, a lot of these I'm starting to get into are a little larger, I thought I'd kind of think about getting either one, because I've not tried a max colour or max size from Stitches So Beautiful, so I thought that could be interesting, as I really do like this artwork. So I'm not too sure with that, I'll have to decide. And then these next two I think are recent releases. Yeah, I think they came out probably in the last month or so. So this one is called Ella's Smile, and it's by Anna Diaz, and this is a 400 wide by 400 high. I do think that might have quite a lot of confetti just based on all of this background, but again, it's got a cat and it's cute, and it's kind of got a very vintage vibe, like a 1920s sort of vibe to it, so that's kind of cool. So yeah, so that one's on my list. And this one, it's a little bit different again for me, but it has got some nice colours in it, which is I think what's drawing me to it. So this one is Respectfully I'm a Witch by Pixel Page Studios, and it is 293 wide by 393 high. So obviously, yes, it's a little bit of a kind of tongue-in-cheek sort of one, but I like all of the, you know, the colours in the hair, and I just think it balances out really well. So yeah, that is one that's on my list at some point. So yeah, so that is all of the Stitches So Beautiful that I'm including. Like I said, there are more, but that's the one I'm including. Right, so this is now the Crossstitch Studio. So I have two that I've listed from there. Again, I have more, but I'm trying to really think about what I would like to maybe stitch. So this one is called Marley Crop. So this is obviously the cropped version, so it's called Marley. And this is artwork by Simonetta Zambelli. And it's part of, I think it's called the Christmas Elves series. And this one, the cropped version, is 250 wide by 350 high. So yeah, that's a nice one. And then I have one called Miss May. So this one is artwork by Romance Art, and that is Serena Mance. And this one is quite a big one for me. So this is 575 high by 575 wide. So again, this could be one that gets put on the back burner, because anything that's too big I think I might get a little bit overwhelmed with. But yeah, it's one that I really like. So most of the companies, you know, like the shops websites I'm sharing, a lot of these I've been introduced to by Flosstubers, so I think I have most of the kind of big cross-stitch brands, if that makes sense. If there are any that I'm not mentioning, then I would love it if you would comment them for me, and I will go and check those out. So yeah, so this is, as I said, this is based on you know, doing kind of views and making wish lists, so some of these I do like more than others and all of that kind of thing, but I just thought it would be really interesting to try and get a selection just so I can kind of you know, decide myself actually. So right, so now we're on to Thread Geeks. So I have more on my list and I'm showing that these are probably the ones I like the most on there, or they're the most, you know, unusual or something like that. So this one is called Gothic Lovebirds by Simona Candini. Oh, I'm so sorry. It's really hard when you're not used to certain names and things like that. So obviously it's Addams Family inspired, but yeah, I don't know why, I just really like that one. So that one is 342 wide by 468 high. So yeah, they do have quite a lot of kind of characters from this artist. It's like Supergirl, I think it's Batgirl, yeah, there's a few others, but that's the one I kind of like the most. So yeah, I'm just noticing with a few of these artists on these next few, I'm probably going to struggle with pronunciation, so I apologise in advance to anyone. So this one is called Little Scardy, and it is artwork by Ingrid Trussell, or Tussell, however. Any of these that I'm mispronouncing, obviously I will write on the screen, so hopefully, you know, it makes sense. So this one's 360 wide by 432 high. It's quite a sort of muted colour palette on this one, but I think that, you know, if I had like quite a lot of colourful ones I was stitching, that might balance out quite well. So it's a little bit different. And then the next two are both Wednesday inspired. You know, the Netflix series Wednesday. I don't know if I got one, I don't know necessarily that I'd get the other. But these are kind of two that I, you know, were drawn to, so I just thought that I'd like add them to this because I thought that it might be interesting for people. So this one is called Strange and Unusual, and it's artwork by Gus Fink, and this is 324 wide by 324 high. A lot of dark stitches obviously on this one, but I just thought that was a bit different. So we are strange and unusual. So yeah, I thought that was quite fun, especially if it was like a, you know, like a Halloween start. And then this one is, you know, obviously very Wednesday inspired. I'm not gonna try to pronounce the surname of this artist, so this is by Inner, and then I will write the name on screen. I'm gonna nowhere be able to pronounce that one. So yeah, so obviously this is called Wednesday. So this one is 288 wide by 216 high. I just like the image with all of the you know, the kind of trees, lightning kind of style. I just think it looks really cool because I'm a big fan of blue. So yeah, it's very, yeah, it's very gothic and cool. And then I have Tilton Crafts. So this is these few, like Thread Geeks and Tilton Crafts, and then the next one I have, these are all very new to me that I've only just recently come across. Might actually be from Catherine Stitcher's videos actually, because I know she's commented on a couple, I think. Sorry, I'm shaking the camera, it's because I'm moving around, sorry. Yeah, so Tilton Crafts. So this one is called, I think you pronounce it Nico or Neko. So that's that one. So this is art by Kathy. So C-A-T-H-Y. C-A-T-H-E, like Cathy. And that one is 300 wide by 400 high. And yeah, it's very kind of very gothic, very Halloween style. And then this one is also from Tilton Crafts, and this one is called This one is called Witcher Moon by Cali Negra, and this one is 300 wide by 400 high. Obviously that's artwork inspired by The Witcher. I can't say that I've seen the series, honestly, but I really like the game, The Witcher 3. So yeah, so I really like that. Artwork reminds me a lot of like a book cover, like a romance book cover, so... Talking too much. And then my next company is Unconventional Xstitch. And I know that Catherine Stitches is definitely the one that mentioned this, because I didn't know about this company before. So I have 3 from this one saved, you know, I got high on my wish list. So this one is a pumpkin gift, and it's artwork by, I hope I'm saying this the right way around, Jasmine Beckett Griffith. If it's not, I will pop it on the screen, so it might be the other way around. And this one is 304 wide by 400 high. Obviously some of these are a little bit more kind of seasonal, so Halloween, Christmas, that kind of thing. And then this one is a little bit of a bigger one. So this one is called Enchanting Brew, and this is by Ivy Dullamore, so obviously that's the same one from the laundromat one that I showed earlier. And this one is 600 wide by 445 high. So that's really pretty. So yeah, this next one from Unconventional Crossstitch, this is a very different chart. I mean, a few of these have been a little bit more on the, you know, darker side, I suppose, based on what company I'm using. This one is very, very different. I don't know why. I went through all of the website over the last few days, made up a wish list of however many items, probably 10, 12, something like that, and then went through them all, because what I did is I basically downloaded the image, you know, like onto my phone, and then I kind of kept scrolling through a few times, and that's how I usually decide what patterns I really like. It's the ones that when you're looking like on your camera roll, and it's the one that you're, you know, always drawn to, and that's kind of how I pick my you know, favourite ones. So yeah, so this one is a very strange one. It's very dark. So I will just, you know, show you the image instead of talking about it. So this one is called Nafi Betrayer King. This is the miniature edition, and it's by Christopher Lovell Art. So the miniature edition is 400 wide by 283 high, and like I said, I'm not sure why I like this one. I know it sounds strange, but like that, it doesn't feel like it would suit anything compared to what I make, but I just think it's because it's got like darker colours, and I don't know, I just find it really striking. It reminds me a lot of, you know, some of the games that I've played, like fantasy games, kind of like, I say it reminds me of games and I can't think of the games. I don't know, things like Skyrim and yeah, just things like, I don't know, it's just interesting, you know, the skulls and the wall, and I don't know, I just find that really different and interesting. So yeah, so that's one that is on my list. So yeah. Right then, so I have a few others now. So these are all from Etsy shops, which I will obviously, you know, mention their shops. I think there's one that's not an Etsy shop, it's on it. I know it's from Facebook, it's a group I'm in. But yeah, most of them are Etsy shops. So so this one is called Garden Nymph, and it is by TDKJ Design, and this one is 250 wide by 440 high. So this is a chart that I currently own. It does have, I think it's something like close to 200 colours, which is why I've never started it. It didn't have that in the listing, unfortunately, so I wasn't aware of that until I purchased it, but I do still really like the image, and I do hope to start it at some point. But yeah, it is a really, it's going to be a very kind of confetti filled one. So yeah, I think I mentioned, but all of the Crossstitch Studio, Fred Geeks, Tilting Crafts and Unconventional Xstitch, I don't own any of them charts that I showed you. Most of the ones on here now that I'm showing I do, so this one I do. Obviously I'll say as I go for the others. So this is the one I mentioned that was from Facebook, not Etsy. So this is called Girl and Cat, and it's from Puppies Crossstitch. Now I'm in their Facebook group. I think they have a Ko-fi page. Again, I will link the group for this one if I can, and then you can you know, go check them out. I know there are, same again, there's free patterns in the group, and then some of them you know, you get linked to get them for free from there. So yeah, so this one is called Girl and Cat, and it's quite a small one, for, you know, for full coverage. So 110 wide by 146 high. So I just think that's quite a cute one, and obviously it wouldn't be very big, especially if I did it on, you know, like a count, like, I don't know, 22 count or something. So again, this is one I own because this is a free one. So this one is from Puck's Closet on Etsy, and it is called Highland Embrace. And that one is 400 wide by 400 high. Obviously the red border isn't part of it, that's just the you know, saved from the image on Etsy. So obviously that doesn't have a red border around it on the actual design. So yeah, that's a really nice one. And then this one I've had for a while. So this one I'm calling Knitting Kitten. It doesn't, I don't think it has like a set name, so I'm calling it Knitting Kitten, and it is by 447 shades of Xstitch, and that is on Etsy. And this one is 350 wide by 350 high. So all of those ones I've just showed there I do own. I have the next three now, which are the last three. These are from Etsy shops. These I don't own just yet, but they are on my list that I would like to get at some point. So this one is called Lady Rosabelle, and this is from Crossstitch. And this is 400 wide by 400 high. And one of the reasons I like this one is because I felt like it would be quite a good you know, companion piece to my mini flower girl from HAED. You know, with like the roses in the backdrop, I thought that would be, you know, kind of, it would go together. So yeah, so that's that one. And then this one I've had on my wish list for quite a while. This is again from Crossstitch, and this is called Twilight Bond. And this one is 450 wide by 340 high. Obviously the only reason I haven't got this before now is because it does have a lot of green, and if you are a regular viewer of the channel, you will know I've commented a few times on a lot of my projects having lots of browns, lots of greens. so I didn't want to kind of have too many projects on the go that, you know, are all really similar colour palettes. And then this one is from an Etsy shop called Studio Jamong. They've got quite a lot of charts that I really like, but I think they do have like an offer, so if you buy 2 or you buy 3, you know, I think it's if you buy 2 you can message them and they'll give you a free one, something like that. There is an offer, it does list it on their shop. So this obviously took a while to kind of narrow down my kind of top one that I really liked from there. This is the one I like the most, so this is called Woman with Flowers. So I can't really get the colours to show up, so I will pop up an image here probably while I'm talking, because it's very pretty. And this one is 300 wide by 370 high. So again, this one I don't have in my collection. That's just one that I want to get at some point. So that is all of the charts, and I knew it would be quite a long video. So any of the ones that I have in my collection, obviously, you know, are going to be getting started probably a lot easier because I already own them and I don't have to actually have money set aside to purchase all of them. I do think it's going to make it a lot easier now having my master set all together and just working from the one master set, because I know what was stopping me with a few of these charts I've had for like most of the year. It was because I had to individually kit them up with the threads, and then obviously, you know, that takes time, and then, you know, it also costs money because you're having to then, you know, buy the threads so you have them all set up. So I do think that the way that I'm now doing it is going to make it so much easier. So yeah, like I said, one of the reasons I've you know, done this kind of research and decided to make a video to go with it is because I was trying to go through my patterns. As I said, I have the images like on my camera roll on my phone, so I just kind of scroll through like that. And I went through it a couple of nights ago and had like you know, like a thing. So I was like, I had all of the months of next year, and I kind of was like, right, so I could start this one this month, and I got it to, you know, 2 charts for each month, which, you know, for full coverage charts, that's more than enough, because otherwise you're gonna have like 20 stitches on each one or something. But yeah, I got it to it got as far as I had like I did it, so each week I started one all through the year, so obviously 52 projects, and as I mentioned, that's now, I've just shared like I think 75. So even if I started one a week next year out of all of these most wanted ones, I still wouldn't have all of my favourites started. And then of course you've got to take into account that full coverage means it's a big project and it could take a number of years and all of that. And I just realised, like, yeah, I really need to think about this a little bit more. But I just thought that I would, you know, share all of my patterns and, you know, see what people comment as and stuff. And like I said, I know if some of you have these patterns that I've mentioned, or you've got them on your wish list, then, you know, we could even do a start along next year, perhaps, if that's something you'd like to do with me. So yeah, I know I am thinking of doing kind of like an Amy Stewart stitch along, start along next year, just because I do have a lot of her charts. I did reach out to Amy herself. I don't know if the email address that I've used from her website is still in use, so I don't know. I basically asked for permission to you know, use her kind of name or images to make a hashtag and perhaps a Facebook group, but if not, then I will still probably do a stitch along. I just won't make the group because I don't want to, you know, do any copyright infringement or anything like that. So anyway, but yeah, I do think I probably will do a few kind of start along style type situations, because there is going to be a lot of new charts that I'm thinking of starting next year. But yeah, like obviously some of the smaller ones are going to be easy to do, especially if, you know, I end up making them tent, because a lot of my projects at the moment I'm starting to switch to tent, which is something I didn't think that I would ever do, but you know, that's what happens. So yeah, so there are a couple that I would like to get and start this year. There are a few for next year, as I was mentioning as I went through. They're kind of allocated to a certain time of the year that I'm thinking of, a certain month or something like that. And then obviously there's probably a few that will not even come off the wish list, because, you know, when you break, I've got to obviously really break some of them down and look at the background and how many stitches they will actually be and all of that kind of thing. So there, I know there are going to be a couple that go into the following year to begin started. But yeah, there are a few on here that I think are definitely going to be, well, more than a few, but there's going to be quite a lot on here that are definitely going to be 2026 starts. So anyway, so this has gone on quite a long video. As I said, this is why I classed it as a Flosstube extra and not a regular episode, because I know that, you know, full coverage doesn't interest everybody, and you know, having this and not actually showing you know, progress and things like that isn't going to be of interest. Obviously, as I mentioned, if you are a regular viewer, you will know that I have a lot of mini kits. I have a lot of you know, stamped kits, all that kind of thing. So obviously all of these full coverage have to go along with working on this big bag that I have, like a big storage zipper bag with all of my full kits in there. So obviously that has to get used, worked through as much as you know, full coverage patterns. But yeah, like obviously there are going to be a lot of full coverage starts next year. I don't know how many, and I know that I probably am going to start to just take that kind of style that if they don't get finished, they don't get finished, because I enjoy stitching them and I would rather have them started than just have them as a pattern. So if they never get finished, they never get finished, and if I get so far and I don't like it, I can always just UFO it. And you know, the stitching part is the fun part, and the finishes will come from all of these smaller ones that I've mentioned I have. So I will still get my finishes in, and then I will also get lots of stitches, which will be really fun to keep track of with all of the full coverage. So yeah, just starting to waffle now. So basically what I'm saying is I am probably going to end up being mostly full coverage stitcher starting next year, with, you know, a mixture of kits and things like that as well. And all of those are the charts that I'm interested in. So hopefully, I say hopefully because I know that, you know, we love to kind of you know, share these and kind of let people join in and everything. But yeah, hopefully you have found this interesting, and, you know, found some new patterns perhaps, or even, you know, as I did recently, find some new companies, websites that you've never heard of, and find some new artists and things to check out. And so I'm going to leave that here, because as I said, it's turned into a little bit of waffle talk. So thank you so much for watching if you've got to this point. If you're not subscribed to my channel, I would really love it if you would consider subscribing. Like I said, I am planning to start a lot of these at some point. So if there are any of these that you're interested in, you know, you will see them eventually on my channel. So yeah, so feel free to you know, subscribe and check out some of my other videos, and then, you know, like, comment, all that kind of stuff. I am also over on Instagram if you are on there, so I'm classed as Steph.Xstitch as well, same name. And as I said, I will get as much of this information from this video onto the description for you. I do have the document saved, so if I can't share this and you would like to know again what that detail is, please let me know, and I can make sure that I get the artist and try and perhaps even, you know, get you a link to the product that I can send over to you if that's helpful. But yeah, it's like I said, I've tried to include the name of the chart and the artist, and I've mentioned size because I think it's helpful for me while I'm talking about it. But yeah, it's probably, you know, helpful for you as well. So thank you so much for watching. I will be back very soon with a regular update video, so look out for that. And again, thank you for watching this one, if you've sat through all of this, and hopefully you found some nice new patterns and things to add to your wish list. So yeah, I really appreciate you know, everyone kind of coming back and supporting this channel. So yeah, lots of full coverage, more full coverage on the way. So happy stitching everyone, thanks for watching, bye.